USA throne pipeline back and being part of TPUSA. Early on, 2011, 2012, 2013, they were tight. They grew TPUSA like crazy. I was shocked to see her leave until being part of TPUSA. Her theories got just a little bit too down the rabbit holes. It was too extreme for their taste. And Charlie, to his credit, kept a cordial friendship with her for years, but it hasn't been a communication pipeline back and forth between the two for many years. That's why I don't know why we give Candace Owens' assessment any weight at all.
You're on the board of Turning Point?
Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you saw Candace Owens?
In person?
Yeah.
2015, 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
When's the last time she was at a Turning Point event?
Not in many years.
Okay.
But
so let's
you don't
without even being biased.
There's
Candace even involved in Charlie Kirk's life at all?
No question, proof that Candace Owens has nothing to do. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this. What I already know was a very quiet breakup where she got too rabbit hole for him. She would be the logical heir to the TPUSA throne, but she's not. And
now she's not even invited.
Correct. So this is so their divide is.
Wait a minute, not invited meaning
she's not even there.
Yeah, she's not there. One of the names.
Wait, you don't think she'll be at the funeral?
No.
That's not the funeral.
The heir to the TPUSA throne.
She doesn't speak at the events anymore.
I mean, Erica.
That's a reason
Erica
for that.
Kirk. I mean,
what is Erica Kirk's relationship with Candace at this point? Is there a relationship?
I don't think so.
Why do you not think so?
Because I live in this world.
Okay.
I live in
this world. Tell us.
I don't see them together. I think Candace has created a lane for herself. Yeah. It's her own lane. She wants to go after Macron's husband or wife or whatever you want to call him. She wants. I agree that I think it's cheap that she is sparking this up like she knows something between something happened between Ackman and.
Okay. Immediately, and this is what this channel is going to be about. This is about me ranting. A couple things right off the bat. Number one, we all know Adam's bias here. Adam, it just can't wait. He's foaming at the mouth to prove that anything Candace says is wrong because Adam can't stand her stance on Israel. So that's what it's all about for Adam. I mean, so I don't need to get into Adam because I mean you talk about someone who's out of their depth in the shallow end of the pool. There's nobody who's more out of their depth in anything than this guy. I mean, I'm assuming he makes Pat money or he's a great antagonist for the show and that's why he's there. Or maybe Pat's just covering his own behind by having somebody who's just all in pro-Israel no matter what. He's like their inbred AIPAC rep, but this guy, he's funny at times, and I don't know him personally, but just his professional takes as a media person, he's out of his depth a lot of times, and he is very loyal to Israel. He's very loyal to that cause, and that's good for him, but that's his bias. Candace is not a friend to Israel. I think she was probably neutral a decade ago, and now I would say she's definitely not a friend. So he doesn't like her right off the bat. Erik Bolling, I mean, look, dude, you talk about the saddest thing that's happened post-Charlie Kirk has been watching, and Candace can be included in this, but this is really just across the board. Watching all of these political pundits, independent people who pretend they're not political pundits, they're no different from MSNBC. They just don't have a television deal. So watching these people jockey for position around the coffin of Charlie Kirk is really pathetic. I mean, Erik Bolling, this guy was at Fox News for like a decade. I don't know if he's still there or not. But if there's somebody whose take I don't need to hear, I don't care about, it's somebody who worked in corporate media and never gave up the shill. Okay? I mean, Tucker Carlson admits that he was stupid on a lot of issues, and he was. Because he's a very intelligent guy, but for years and years and years, he peddled the themes that he was told to peddle. And this guy is now out here talking about, well, she's not on the board of directors. I'm on the board. Oh, I'm on the board. The fact that Turning Point has a board of directors is not a sexy, attractive thing to me at all. Okay? And this is not a knock on the individuals, but just take this in for a second. Was there a board of directors of Martin Luther King's Million Man March? Is there a board of directors of Malcolm X's speeches? Is there a board of directors for Ron Paul? Like let's just take this for what it is, okay? There's no board of directors of MAGA, by the way. MAGA is a theme, it's a concept. You don't need a board of directors for a political ideology. You don't need a board of directors for intellectual thought. I understand, I have an MBA, so I fully understand the business, right? They have to make money, they have to feed their families, they have to have an organization, they have a board. I get that. That's not my issue. My issue is that you're qualifying somebody's validity, somebody's statue in your world, somebody's credibility in your world based on, well, they're not on the board, they are on the board. There's no board of directors for intellectual thought, for ideas, for concepts. And if they're managed by a board, if the board is doing anything beyond managing the X's and O's of the organization, if they're actually deciding in some way whether someone's valid or not, like Candace, she's not valid anymore, so she's not here anymore. No. In a free society, you don't get to determine that. So when he goes down that rabbit hole, which he liked to point out, she liked to go down rabbit holes. When he goes down that rabbit hole of like, well, she's not on the board anymore, so they had a silent, breakup. My response is whether they had a differentiating or difference of opinions or not. That's one thing, but that doesn't make her any less a part of your right. And she's definitely right wing. There's no question, but that doesn't make her any less right wing than your comrades just because she's not on the board. And frankly, Erik Bolling being on Fox News, this guy is as standard issue a neocon as like a Ted Cruz. There's nothing. It's not like tradition. He's not a traditional conservative. I mean, this guy isn't. He's not. He's not somebody. He's not like a James Garfield or something. Like this guy isn't exactly, going to make the old traditional conservatives, feel warm and fuzzy inside. He has no problem with imperialist activity as long as it benefits what he perceives as his side. And it's no different than when the progressives have no issue with imperialist activity as long as it benefits their side. And this is one of my issues with the Soviet Union, which so many people who I think some of them have good ideas, some of these socialists that I've seen, some of them have good ideas. But when they reference the Soviet Union, I look at them and say the Soviet Union forced people under their yoke. They forced people under their influence. Poland didn't want to be part of the Soviet Union. I don't think East Germany wanted to be part of the Soviet Union. I don't think people were trying to hop the fence of the Great Wall because you wouldn't need a great wall in the in Berlin if people were happy to be there. I don't remember anybody trying to dig a hole to get into East Germany. So when I see people behaving in this manner, or people leaving North Korea, I mean, how many people in North Korea are freely transiting out? I mean, if you're not allowed to leave your country freely, are you a free person? No, you're a slave. There are two ways in modern society that civilized, secular modern society fully endorses slavery. And the two ways are simple. The first way is we tax your labor. If you tax somebody's labor, they're a slave. The second way is if you accept the fact that people are not allowed to leave your country. If you're caught leaving the country, you can be harmed. And for all my, friends or all my buddies out there who, again, some of them have great ideas, but when you defend Cuba or the Soviet Union or North Korea, my issue is I'm not saying you should harm those countries. I have no interest at all in doing that. But where I do have a problem is when you're sitting there and defending those countries just because they are communist, but then they punish their own people when they want to leave. Well, if people aren't volunteering to be a part of that system and that society, and you're forcing them to stay, then they're slaves. And I don't endorse slavery. And that's one of the things that the United States, I mean, you could critique the United States, and and trust me, you stay with me, you stay with my X feed, you stay with my YouTube, you stay with me on Rumble, you will hear critiques. You will hear lots of critiques. But one of the things that I have to admit about the United States that you can't critique is if you want to leave, you can leave. You're not going to see Joe Biden, Donald Trump. You're not going to see Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell. Nobody's going to point a gun at you and say you can't leave. Like a Bronx Tale. Now you can't leave. No, you're not going to have that problem. You had that problem in former communist countries and current communist countries, but you don't have that problem in the United States. Okay, so that's one pro. That's one thumbs up for all the flag wrapping, apple pie eating, Americans out there, who are all in on America all day, 7 days a week, twice on Sunday, all that jazz. For those of you, that's one thing you can stand on and stunt around on for sure. So, take that for what it is. But my issue here is just like, look, I don't like, Adam is baiting him in a lot of ways and just relishing in any kind of disparaging commentary about Candace Owens, and it has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. I mean, let's call Adam out for what he is. He's now going to talk about what it means to be conservative or what it means to be part of a conservative movement. This guy was railing against Trump a couple years ago. They make fun of him all the time about how he was like a standard issue secular liberal living in Miami who hated Trump and hated the concepts of MAGA. And now he's on his knees telling you how great MAGA is and, dumping on anybody who differentiates, especially if they're not neoconservative. If they're not a neocon, if they're not endorsing Israel 100%, Adam is the first one to rip you. Even his own friends on the show, he'll rip. He has no respect for Vinny. He pretends to respect him, but it's so obvious that he has venom for Vinny when he questions anything that happens. So, that's just it for that. I just can't stand that nonsense.
On Mount Moriah, where God chose his people. He not only chose a people, but he chose a place. And then he chose for the people in this place a purpose. The people were the Jewish people. The place was Israel. And the purpose was to be a light to the world and to show that we don't have to look for God because he is looking for us. And that is what so separates the long history of why this city is so important. And those of us who are not Jewish, we thank you for giving all of us a foundation of morality and decency and civilization upon which our own faith is built, for without yours, we don't have one. As I often tell my Jewish friends, you can be Jewish, you don't need me. But I cannot be who I am in my faith without the debt of obligation that I owe to you for having listened to God and been willing to be obedient to him when he called you to this place as his people for his eternal, everlasting purpose.
I mean, tone deaf irrational, stupid, gaslighting. If you want to know why young people in the United States are so turned off by this kind of rhetoric, I mean, you're in the middle of a situation where unequivocally, whether it's justified or not, where innocent people are being harmed, whether it's a hospital, a school, women, children, men who are not fighting you, innocent people are being murdered or being maimed, and there's a long-standing conflict. And you're out there standing in front of the people of Israel. And I understand he's an ambassador, but he did this his entire political career. And he's talking to them, explaining to them why they're the chosen people. My first question to a Christian or anyone who talks like that is, Mike, are you saying then that you're not chosen? Are you saying that your big mouth daughter isn't chosen? Are you saying that your wife, your grandchildren, your friends, your parents, everybody else that you know, that none of them were chosen? It's really easy to stand there or to kneel in front of people and tell them how great they are and chosen. But when you start thinking about it, between your drooling and your groveling, are you then saying that you're not chosen for anything? Your own family isn't chosen? Your daughter isn't chosen? Your wife? So you'll all go to hell and they'll go to heaven? I mean, let's cut to brass tacks here. You're not talking to chosen people. You're talking to a state. I don't go to Germany and kneel and say, "Oh, you're the chosen people." It's a state, and it's based on a theology. And theologies can be beautiful. Theologies can be comforting, but they are what they are. And it's based on faith. And there are other states that are based on theology that would think very differently of not only this country, but the country that you're in, telling them how chosen they are. Does that make them any less correct? If you go to a country that has a Hindu theology or a Muslim theology or a Christian theology, does that make them wrong? Why isn't Russia the chosen people, Mike? Russia's a Christian Orthodox country. They embrace Christian Orthodoxy. Why aren't you there telling them that they're chosen? They have the same religion you have. The people who you are bowing to don't believe in your Savior. They don't believe in him to the extent that the leaders, the clerics, the rabbis of his time turned him into the Romans. They helped to murder Jesus. And yet you call yourself a Christian? Why aren't you in a Christian country telling that Christian country how much you love them? This is why. And then forgetting the theology for a moment, okay? Because religion isn't the be-all, end-all here. Let's just say if you have a constituency in the United States, that constituency, among many others, are very unhappy about all the war that's been happening. They're not happy about bombing Qatar. They're not happy about bombing in Syria. They're not happy about Lebanon. They're not happy about Gaza. They're not happy about seeing all these people. They're not happy. Do you think it's a little tone deaf to basically say that they are the foundation of all morality? That's a little tone deaf, no? Even if you believe it, and even if, of course, there are great Jewish people, just like there's great a lot of people. But do you think this is a little tone deaf? This is why so many Americans are gaslit. This is why so many Americans are pissed. It's not because they're anti-Semitic. It's not because they don't want to see a Jewish state. It's nothing to do with that. It's because our politicians behave irrationally and sound psyoped, sound captured. I mean, am I talking to Mike Huckabee or Leona Helmsley here? Stockholm Syndrome much? I mean, my God. No pun intended. You know, Mike Huckabee one time said something that I thought was very poetically said when he said, the military is not a social experiment. The military is here to defend America and to kill people. Well, Mike, as an American representative, your job is to uphold the Constitution and to look out for the best interests of America. And I have to question if you are compromised in your ability to do that job when you're stating very clearly, and it's not the first time, that you believe another country is the foundation of morality. And you believe that they act with impunity because of a few thousand years ago that they were chosen by God. I'm not sure you're capable of making rational decisions in the best interests of the United States when you say that. And I would say this to Israel and to all of the neocons, but especially to all my Israeli friends and Jewish friends out there. This is a little piece of friendly advice because I grew up around a lot of Jewish people. You would have a much easier time winning the culture war in America, okay, if you used different tones and you started to adjust the temperature. So instead of letting the Benjamin Netanyahu all-in neocon style of aggressive, angry defense dominate your body politic, start changing it up. You guys are all fastballs, no change-ups. That's why young people in America view you so poorly. This is seriously. You have to change your tone. You have to change your look. You are not appeasing to the American youth. If you showed them your other side, a side that I've seen, if you show them another side, show them the humanity, show them the culture, show them the love, show them the family values, show them the defense of your religion, your defense of your country, not the offense. Show them that. Show them the critical thinking and open debate. Show them all of these things, and you will appear friendly because deep down, the United States and its citizens do have more in common with you than your Muslim Arab neighbors. So you have the inside track. You not only were here first in the United States, but you are culturally closer to America, which was built on whether you agree or not, it was built on Judeo-Christian values. Okay, and obviously influenced by the movement that would spurn the French Revolution, et cetera, et cetera. But make no mistake, and to be fair, the Bavarian Illuminati, probably those theories. There's a lot in there, but there's no question that Judeo-Christian values together were a huge impact. And if you can show your American brethren, whether you're Jewish in America or Jewish in Israel, if you can show your American brethren that connection, that is a better strategy than agree with me or be quiet. That strategy is not working because the 20-year-old in Iowa or the 20-year-old in the Bronx is looking at you the way the Vietnamese, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Indians, and so many other groups are looking at you right now. You don't want that. So that's some free advice. Because trust me, there is less cultural alignment with the theology of Islam and people who want to push Sharia law and Sharia courts in the United States the way they have in the UK. There's a lot less political alignment between the average American and that than the Jewish people. So you guys have the inside track, but you're not using it because you are led by fucking morons. You are led by absolute fucking morons who think that you can strong arm your way into someone's heart. You can stomp on people and make them fear you, but they will not love you. And when they have the opportunity to get rid of you, they will. That's my rant for this morning. I see some other things that that pop up throughout the day. I'll make more videos, but I wanted to set the tone for what this channel will be like. I'm going to talk economics, politics, just anything I see. What is my ideology? I've come to the conclusion I have none. I love a lot of what I see in socialism. I love a lot of what I see in Ron Paul libertarianism. I love a lot of what I've known about American traditional conservatism, and I believe that the problem in America are progressives and neocons. And the problem internationally they are tied to international central banking system, which unfortunately leads to a lot of aggressive authoritarian government politicking. And I think we have to have more diversity of banks so that we have more local money. I think we have to have a more humble foreign policy as the United States, and we need to have a more collective, open Western society that allows for people to have a divergence of political opinion that we're not seeing right now, because if you are not extremely progressive, you are deemed right-wing and a threat. So that's sort of where I am. Like I said, I don't think I have an ideology, quote unquote. I think I have opinions. So there'll be more of this, and I'll continue to talk smack. Thank you.